In a dire twist of fate, Lady Laura Laraya du Louvier and her loyal maid, Rita Farron, find themselves in a dangerous predicament as ruthless bandits ensnare them in hopes of assaulting them. Just when all hope seems lost, a formidable, heavily armored knight emerges out of nowhere. With a quick, decisive swing of his shiny sword, he takes down the bad guys and introduces himself as Ark, their unexpected hero in this dangerous situation. Before saving the girls, Ark wakes up in front of a majestic tree and is taken aback when he gazes upon his attire, experiencing a moment of astonishment. However, he quickly composes himself, realizing that he is clad in the holy armor of Belinus, renowned for its extraordinary qualities. He proceeds to examine his mantle, delighted to discover the overcoat of the night sky, enriched with mana-recovering abilities. Next, his attention turns to the Holy Shield of Tutates, a shield renowned for its capability to bolster the user's resistance against various abnormal status effects. Last but not least, he beholds the Khalid Bowl, the Holy Thunder Sword that possesses the unique ability to conjure flashing blades. He quickly comes to the conclusion that he has embodied Ark, the very character he played in a video game. Recalling how he fell asleep after playing the game, Ark decides to try out his Wyvern Slash move. He's left astonished as the single swing leaves the trees in front of him cut in half. Next, Ark decides to try out magic. Upon casting a simple fire spell, Ark wonders how he can use magic despite his original class's limitations. He then comes to the conclusion that he can employ all the previous skills from the upgrade path of his main skill, Holy Knight. This leads him to believe that he's super strong. Ark's excitement dies down when his stomach begins to growl in hunger. With no food supply in sight, Ark decides to cast a gate spell to teleport himself to a nearby town. However, to his surprise and dismay, the teleportation goes awry and he finds himself suddenly falling from the cliff. Not one to be deterred, Ark takes a moment to reflect on the intricacies of the gate spell, which makes him realize that Dimension Move would be more suitable for now. Upon reaching a stream, Ark dances happily while thinking about his future as an overpowered character. As he goes to drink water, he catches his reflection. Ark curses his luck upon remembering that he chose a skeleton for an avatar in his old world. Knowing that he'll be subjugated to horrors beyond comprehension if the locals saw him, Ark decides to always keep his helmet on. As Ark makes his way to a town called Louvier, he finds himself overhearing a conversation between a man and a cloaked woman. Once the woman scoffs and turns to leave, the man curses the elves, making Ark focus on the woman's ears. Instantly, Ark expresses his joy upon learning about the existence of elves in the fantasy world. After losing sight of the elven woman, Ark stumbles upon the mercenary guild. Remembering that in the game he'd attained money by performing quests for the guild, Ark makes his way in. With his arrival, Ark stuns the onlookers and the manager, who asks him if he's here to make fun of the guild. The manager goes on to say that someone wearing an expensive armor suit would not want to register himself as a mercenary. Masking his fear, Ark uses a stern tone and states that he must register himself as a mercenary for special reasons. Not bothering Ark with further questions, the manager reveals that before he can get his permit as a mercenary, he must hunt a beast, a demon, or a bandit. Excited as ever, Ark makes his way inside a forest and instantly kills 2 boars. His excitement levels up when he sees an orc headed his way. With a happy chant of fantasy rocks, Ark easily slays the orc. While carrying the orc's body on his back, Ark stumbles upon a group of bandits terrorizing 2 young girls. As he surveys the situation, it becomes apparent quite early to Ark which side he must protect. However, he hesitates to make his move, knowing that he'll have to raise his sword against humans. But as the situation escalates, Ark employs his infamous Wyvern Slash to take down the entire group of bandits. The ladies extend their gratitude to Ark, and together they make it back to the town with Ark carrying the bandits' loot. After parting ways with the women, Ark receives his mercenary's permit. Before leaving the guild, the manager advises him to always collect the magic stone after slaying the monsters. Finally, Ark gets to stuff his belly with warm food and ale to comfort his soul. Shiona, a single mother of 2 young daughters, Marka and Helena, slaves away every day to provide for her family. Marka, quick to notice her mother's hard work, decides to write a job request to ease her mother's life. The next day, Ark sets out with the quest of escorting Siona and the herbs collection. While making his way to the Siona household, Ark thinks about how the quest fits his agenda of keeping a low profile. Taking in the serene atmosphere of the Rada village, Ark knocks on the door. As Marka opens the door and is greeted by Ark's humongous form, her eyes begin to well up. Terrified, she addresses Ark as Sir Knight and asks him what he wants from them. Once Ark reveals that he's here for the job, Marka breathes a sigh of relief. Recalling back to the moment he took the job, Ark is told by the manager that someone like him should join a mercenary group and take bigger quests. However, afraid of getting his secret out, Ark lies and states that he is more interested in collecting herbs. Nodding in understanding, the manager smiles and advises him to be nice to his client. In present time, Marka places hot tea in front of Ark and innocently asks if it's okay for a noble knight like him to accept her request. Using the old excuse, Ark assures Marka that he is very interested in collecting herbs. Relieved to hear that, Marka impatiently asks Ark if they can begin immediately. As they make their way toward their destination, Ark brings up an important point about the job details. He asks Marka about how she mentioned in her commission that the village has been facing a threat from the Fange Boars. Knowing this, Ark asks Marka why she is eager to complete the mission in such a haste. Nervously, Marka confesses that her mother doesn't know that she requested help and goes on to reveal that ever since her father died, her mother took over his job as a herbalist and has been working hard for them. Marka brightly states that she just wants to help her mother by collecting the herbs. Touched by the young girl's words, Ark thinks about how when he was her age, all he did was play video games. Pulling himself out of the days of childhood, Ark announces that together they shall gather plenty of herbs to make Shiona happy. In the tranquil fields, Marka imparts her knowledge about various herbs to Ark, leaving him genuinely impressed by her vast understanding of the subject. Marka then suggests they head towards the nearby Kobumi tree. However, their path is interrupted by rustling bushes nearby, alerting Ark. Curious, he investigates and discovers a wounded fox visibly in pain and discomfort. Approaching the injured creature cautiously, Ark extends a gentle hand to comfort the fox, but in its fear and pain, the fox reacts defensively and bites his finger. Unfazed by the sudden attack, Ark speaks to the frightened fox, offering reassurance that he means no harm. Drawing upon his healing magic, Ark helps the wounded fox. When the fox refuses to leave, Marka tells Ark that the fox wishes to be his companion. After naming the fox Panta, Ark decides to take him in. Back in the village, a hunter shares a distressing account of how he witnessed an unexpected sight that went beyond the usual encounters with fanged boars. Concerned, the villagers wonder what could be lurking in their once familiar woods. As Shiona returns to the village, she learns from the gatekeeper that Marka had set out to the forest earlier that morning, accompanied by a knight. The news strikes a chord of concern in Siona's heart, prompting her to worry about her daughter. Meanwhile, Ark, Panta, and Marka finally locate the Kobumi tree. Just as Marka approaches the tree, a giant basilisk appears behind her. With lightning reflexes, Ark swiftly pulls Marka out of harm's way, narrowly avoiding the basilisk's devastating stomp. As the massive creature launches its poison fog breath attacks, Ark takes a moment to analyze his opponent. Drawing upon the power of his holy shield of Tutates, he forms an impenetrable barrier, fending off the basilisk's petrification attempt with unwavering resolve. Undeterred, Ark summons the might of his judgment attack, his sword Calibol gleaming with power. With a masterful swing, he delivers a precise strike that slices the monstrous basilisk in half, sending it to its death. After defeating the basilisk, Ark asks Marka to keep it a secret from the villagers. They notice a ring on the monster's ankle that instantly disappears. As a fang boar appears, Ark quickly dispatches it and presents the fang boar's carcass as a gift to the village, explaining that he'll take its fangs and runestone as payment. He then orders to have the hide tanned for Marka and divide the meat among the villagers. With the battle behind them, Marka reunites with her mother Shiona, who warmly embraces her daughter. Ark takes a moment to apologize formally to Shiona for recklessly allowing Marka to go into the forest. Shortly after, the village gatekeeper and hunter approach Ark, inquiring if he encountered the monster. Both Ark and Marka deny encountering any such creature, keeping the truth about their battle with the giant basilisk a secret. That night, a sizable group of soldiers successfully slays another giant basilisk. The leader receives a status report from his subordinate, detailing the number of deceased and injured soldiers in the battle. The subordinate also informs the leader about a single person who managed to slay a giant basilisk all on their own. Astounded by this remarkable feat, the leader is left in awe and wonders if the individual who achieved such a victory is either a god or devil. Ariane contemplates about the elf and human treaty, finding it to be nothing more than a deceptive facade at the present moment. Feeling the thirst for more power, she seeks to change her destiny. As fate would have it, her path takes a fateful turn when she encounters a large man donning silver armor. Observing Ark with Panta on his shoulder exiting a cave, she readies herself. Before his encounter with Ariane, Ark pursues a group of bandits inside the cave. After dealing with them, Ark stumbles upon their hidden treasure hoard. He also spots a couple of cages but decides to pay no attention to it. In Diento, Marquis Triton receives a report from his consul Celsica about the failed assassination attempt on Lady Lauren's life. The news infuriates the Marquis, who curses at the bandits for not being able to fulfill the job. Celsica then informs Triton that the giant basilisks were both slain, which makes Triton grumble with displeasure. When Celsica questions why Decaires was targeting the area, Triton admits that he has no definitive answer, but he suspects it might be due to Decaires' alliance with the Eastern Empire, as the East intends to attack the West, which is supported by His Highness sect who has Louviert under his control. Realizing the potential consequences of their alliance with Decaires, they decide to keep their involvement hidden, fearing that any leak of information could complicate matters with Prince sect. Triton then orders that the product must be securely sent to the market, emphasizing the utmost importance of keeping this information hidden from Princess Uriarna. Celsica assures him that the task will be executed as instructed. With curiosity piqued, Triton inquires about his son, Udoran. When Celsica reveals that Udoran is escorting the product, Triton expresses his disapproval by stating that his idiot son will just cause problems. After dismissing Celsica, Triton wonders how all his plans to cause upheaval failed. As Ariane attacks Ark, he recognizes her as the elf he encountered in Louviert. During the confrontation, Ariane accuses Ark of being a bandit, but her suspicion wanes when she spots Ponta and identifies the fox as a spirit creature. Confused by the spirit fox's bond with Ark, Ariane loudly asks why the creature would bond with a human. Ark then tells her that he helped Ponto while he was injured. This revelation clears Ark's name as Ariane realizes he is not a bandit after all. Ariane then shares that she heard that bandits in the area were hunting elves. Thinking about the cages inside the cave, Ark informs her that no elves were found in the cages, leading Ariane to reveal a disturbing truth about how elves are being sold for a high price on the slave market. Despite his offered help, Ariane coldly rejects it and swiftly departs. Undeterred by her refusal, Ark remains determined to help her. Back at his room, Ark enjoys his dinner and reminisces about his time with Ariane and hopes to see her again. The next day, Ark and Ponta venture inside an elven forest. All of a sudden, they discover a young elven girl desperately trying to escape from her captors, only to be recaptured by Udaran and other bandits. One of the goons remind Udaran that the elves are their valuable products when he cruelly taunts the girl and inflicts a painful stab to her leg. Helplessly witnessing the scene unfold, Ark is about to intervene when Ariane suddenly appears. With a swift and powerful stroke, she takes out a couple of bandits, showcasing her combat prowess. Among the bandits, one recognizes Ariane as a dark elf, a rare and valuable type of elf, which sparks the bandits' interest in her. However, Udaran dismisses Ariane's worth by stating that he isn't interested in strong-minded women and coldly declares that the bandits can do as they please with her. As a large number of bandits surround Ariane, she effortlessly defeats them with her impressive combat skills. However, when Udaran uses hostages to corner Ariane, she finds herself in a precarious situation. Just as things seem dire, Ark appears behind Udaran and executes his powerful armor lariat attack, knocking him unconscious and saving the captives from his grasp. With the remaining bandits dealt with, Ariane notices that the children are wearing mana-eating collars, which suppress their ability to use spirit magic. To Ariane's amazement, Ark casts Uncurse on one of the elven girls, successfully removing the collar's curse. He then uses his healing magic to mend the girl's wounds. Impressed by his talents, Ariane realizes that Ark is no ordinary human. After summoning her spirit creature, a whispering fowl, to relay a message about the rescued elves, Ariane learns from the fowl that a rescue mission is needed in Dianto. Realizing the gravity of the quest, Ariane asks for Ark's assistance. Upon processing Ariane's request, Ark asks her whether her elven comrades accept him. Ariane reveals that while their apprehensiveness is justified, but since he has no prejudice against the elven race, they have no reason to mistrust him. The two come to an understanding and shake hands upon future partnership. Using his gate spell magic, Ark teleports himself and Ariane to Lake Lido. He tells Ariane that while he can teleport them directly to Dinto, it's better if they avoid any excess attention. Upon noticing Ariane's surprised look, Ark asks her whether he can be of help. With a reassuring smile, she tells Ark that he is the only one that can save her brethren. As the two reach Dinto, Ariane tells Ark that they have to regroup with her comrade, Danka. Upon hearing the name, Ark becomes excited to meet more elven beauties. However, to his dismay, he is greeted by a stern-faced man. After Ariane introduces Danka to Ark, the group takes their conversation to a nearby pub. Upon ordering some food, Ariane asks Ark whether he'd like to eat. Restricted by his appearance, Ark excuses himself and the group begins to discuss impending matters at hand. When Ark tries to converse with Danka, he straight up ignores him, causing Ark to shudder in intimidation. Pitching in for Ark, Ariane reveals to Danka that Ark can use teleportation magic. On that note, Ponta appears next to Ark. Seeing the spirit animal, Danka makes an attempt to acknowledge Ark. Once Danka reveals their targeted location and plan, Ark tells Ariane and Danka that he has matters to oversee and takes his leave. With Ark gone, Danka comments on how he never thought Ariane would take help from a stranger, much less a human. Ariane confesses that she feels she was only adequate in attempting to rescue the captured elves, believing that her sister would have handled the situation effortlessly. Danka assures Ariane that she's quite strong for her age and shouldn't compare herself to her older sister. That night, the group sets out towards their destination, unaware that they are being trailed by an unknown individual. As they approach the building, Ark employs his Dimension Move spell, teleporting the group to the rooftop, effectively bypassing any potential obstacles. Ariane faces some difficulty getting inside the building because of her build, but Ark comes to the rescue once more, utilizing his manpower to push Ariane inside. Upon entering, they discover signs of a recent struggle. Some of the bandits have been killed, indicating that there has been an internal conflict within the group, or that other forces have been at work in the building. As they split up to investigate the building, Ark utilizes his Dimension Move to stealthily move around. In a room, he stumbles upon more dead bandits and is suddenly ambushed by a ninja. The ninja begins to attack Ark, but calms down upon seeing Ponta. Realizing Ark is there to rescue the enslaved elves, the ninja hands him a roll of paper containing the involvement of Triton in the slave trade and informs him about more elves held captive in the Lord's palace. As a token of goodwill, the ninja offers Panta berries. Expressing remorse, she reveals that she was unable to find her own objective within the building. With that, she takes off. Returning to Ariane and Denka, Arc shares the information from the paper contracts, revealing the existence of elven slaves and the additional elves at the Lord's palace. He claims to have found the papers on one of the bandits when they question how he acquired the papers. Just as they discuss their next move, 3 bandits enter the room, but Ariane swiftly deals with them, proving her skill in combat once again. Once the elven slaves are rescued, Arc dispels the mana collars. Denka bids well to Ariane as she and Arc set out to rescue more elves. With 2 elven women by the name of Sina and Una tied to his bed, Triton tries to have his way with them, but before unleashing his tyranny, he berates Uteran for returning empty-handed. With ease, Arc and Ariane manage to successfully land on Triton's mansion, catching the attention of a couple of guards. Seizing the opportunity, Arc swiftly executes his Wyvern Slash, slicing the bell with such force that it creates a loud distraction, diverting the guards' attention and providing the perfect opening for them to infiltrate the mansion unnoticed. As Celsica informs Triton about the intruders, his declaration is cut short when the door behind him explosively shatters. Through the dissipating smoke, Arc and Ariane emerge from the newly created hole in the wall. While Ariane takes charge and incapacitates Triton, Arc confronts Uteran, filling him with fear. As he punches through the wall, Arc stumbles upon a hidden room that piques his curiosity. As he is about to inform Ariane of the discovery, Arc finds Ariane and the other elves administering a fitting punishment to Triton for his cruel deeds. When he tries to reason with Ariane, she bluntly states that Triton was the one that broke off the treaty. As the guards of the mansion arrive, Arc tells Ariane to hold them off while he checks the hidden room. Executing Arc's instructions, Ariane takes swift action, imbuing her sword with fire and engaging the guards in a fierce battle. She then instructs the rescued elves to rendezvous with Denka, ensuring their safety as they leave the area. While Ariane is preoccupied with the guards, Arc takes the opportunity to loot the gold from the hidden room. Caught in the act, he quickly comes up with an explanation, claiming that he is preventing the Diento family from rebuilding in the future. Ariane, trusting his words, accepts his reasoning and focuses on the task at hand. After securing the elves and a good amount of loot, Arc is asked by Ariane to accompany her to her village. Surprised by the request, Arc asks her whether he'll have to meet the elders of the village. When Ariane assures him that he has nothing to worry about, Arc cuts her off and states that he can't take off his helmet as she might mistake him for an enemy. With utter surety, Ariane promises Arc that she won't raise her sword against him. Believing her, Arc takes off his helmet, revealing his appearance. When Ariane expresses her shock, Arc lies and tells her that he woke up and found himself in this body and since then has been trying to find a cure to this curse. Sympathizing with his story, Ariane smiles and assures Arc that he's welcome in the elven world. In the capital city of Olav, the Rodin Kingdom's King Carlin gathers for a meeting with his children, Princess Sect and Dekers, along with Princess Juliana. Sect reveals troubling information, stating that Triton was involved in the illegal trade of elves, selling them to the eastern country. As Dekers denies the accusations, Sect claims that Dekers is supporting Triton, which angers Dekers, causing him to speak defensively. However, King Carlin intervenes by supporting Dekers while advocating for a full investigation before any conclusions are drawn. King Carlin then turns to Princess Juliana, seeking her opinion on the matter. Juliana informs her father that she has heard rumors about the elven slaves, which could potentially lead to the breaking of the imposed treaty and heightened tensions with their kingdom and other nations. Juliana also mentions the potential backlash from the elves themselves, as well as the accountability that their kingdom may face. Taking all these factors into consideration, King Carlin assigns Juliana the crucial task of visiting Linbolt to negotiate and address any tensions that may have arisen. As Arc and Ariane journey towards their destination of Lalatoya, Ariane estimates that they will reach there within 2 nights. A loud grumble escapes from Ariane's stomach, prompting Arc to leave and hunt a boar, giving Ariane a chance to play with Panta. When Arc returns with a freshly caught boar, he finds Ariane cuddling with Panta. Feeling a bit playful, Arc decides to join in the cuddle session with Panta, much to Ariane's embarrassment. In Olav, Princess Juliana is served tea by her maid Ferna. During their conversation, Juliana expresses her suspicions that her brother Dekers might be involved in the elf trade incident and that her other brother, Sect, may confront him about it. Ferna casually speculates that either Juliana or Sect might eventually ascend to the throne. However, Juliana cautions her maid not to speak so carelessly, emphasizing that their focus should be on the matter of negotiations with the elves in Linbolt. To ease the tension, Ferna eagerly mentions that she will get to see her sister Siriana again, much to Juliana's pleasure. As for Arc and Ariane, they finally arrive at their destination. Upon arriving at Lalatoya, Ariane requests passage inside and an audience with the Elder. The gate opens, and she asks Arc to wait there until she returns. Arc patiently waits outside the gate until he is finally allowed inside the village. Following Ariane, Ark is led to the Elder's house, where he takes in the archaic beauty of the village. Inside the Elder's home, Ark and Ariane are warmly greeted by Dylan Tog Lalatoya and Glenny's Alma Lalatoya, who are Ariane's parents. Dylan formally expresses his gratitude to Ark for his accomplishments in helping the elven village. However, he does reprimand Ariane for her attack on Triton's manor. Ark joins the conversation, explaining the situation in full to Dylan. Understanding the gravity of the matter, Dylan states that he'll have to inform the other elders in Maple about the uncovered trafficking contract. As they discuss the situation, Glenny's arrives with dinner. Ark hesitates to eat his dinner, but to his relief he learns that Glenny's and Dylan already know about it. Feeling relaxed, Ark then enjoys his meal without any fear of being judged. The following morning, Ark wakes up to find that Ariane and Dylan have already departed, leaving him with Glenny's. While Dylan and Ariane teleport to Maple City for the council, Glenny's warmly offers Ark a tour of the village and shares some of its history with him, providing a deeper understanding of the elves' way of life. During the tour, two young girls approach Ark with gratitude, thanking him for rescuing them from the clutches of the slavers. Ark humbly accepts their thanks and tells the girls to be safe from now onwards. As Ark apologizes to Glenny's for stopping midway, she assures Ark that it's perfectly fine and instead surprises him with a request. She asks Ark to spar with her. Tensions run high as Ariane and Dylan listen to the elders' heated debate on how to respond to the humans' violation of the 400-year treaty regarding the enslavement of elves. Finally, Elder Brian Bond Evangeline Maple steps forward, offering a suggestion to observe the Proton Kingdom's reaction to the attack on the Triton's manor. On the other hand, Ark expresses hesitance towards Glenny's wish. However, once Glenny's reveals that she's the one who taught Ariane her swordplay, Ark agrees to duel with her. Surprisingly, he's quickly overwhelmed by Glenny's, who gives him pointers on combat skills. With the meeting adjourned, Ariane apologizes to her father for the mess. Dylan assures her that she only took action she thought was fit for the elven community. Dylan also reveals to Ariane that her sister, Even, is getting married. Knowing her sister is a fighting maniac, Ariane expresses her surprise on the subject. On that cue, Even engulfs Ariane in a bear hug. The sisters get to talking and Even compliments Ariane for rescuing her comrades and getting strong. While Even and Ariane talk about their lives, Ark gets his butt handed by Glenny's. After a rigorous training session, Ark finally gets to enjoy his first refreshing bath in Lalatoya. However, the peaceful moment takes a comical turn when Ariane unexpectedly barges into the bathhouse, leaving Ark flustered. Later, during dinner, Dylan makes a heartfelt request to Ark, asking for his assistance in helping the elves. In return for his help, Dylan promises to provide Ark with valuable information about a magical spring that could potentially fix his body. However, while humans are not allowed to enter the spring, an elf can help Ark in this quest. As night falls, Ark's mind is filled with contemplation about his skeletal avatar. Curiosity gets the better of him, and he decides to test the limits of his magic. To his astonishment, when he casts a spell on himself, his skeletal arm miraculously gains flesh, defying his previous beliefs about his own abilities. As Ark and Ariane set out for Olav, the capital of the Proton Kingdom, his thoughts dwell on the realization that his skeletal body is indeed the result of a curse. While he can use the uncursed spell to temporarily reverse the effects, the relief is short-lived, leaving him with the daunting reality of his condition. Their journey continues, leading them out of the dense forest. However, their moment of tranquility is interrupted when they encounter a group of giant dragonflies that inhabit the area. Without warning, the giant dragonflies aggressively attack Ark, and he finds himself fleeing from them, seeking safety in a neighboring pub. While in the pub, they discuss their plans for the journey ahead, particularly the next forest they must traverse. However, their waitress cautions them against taking that route due to the presence of dangerous monsters called haunted wolves. Ark quickly notices the look on Ariane's face and asks her about it. Driven by her determination to rescue the elves as quickly as possible, Ariane expresses her desire to go through the forest despite the risks. Understanding her sense of urgency, Ark agrees to follow her lead. As the sun rises over Olav, Princess Juliana, accompanied by her loyal maid Ferna, prepares to embark on her journey. They settle into their horse-driven carriage, eager to reach the Grand Duchy of Limbolt. Unbeknownst to them, an elusive figure, shrouded in shadows, closely watches their every move. Meanwhile, Ariane informs Ark that haunted wolves' tail fur is used in making veils for brides-to-be, and reveals that her own sister is soon to wed. Just as Ark asks Ariane whether she'd like a tail fur for her sister, they're suddenly attacked by a pack of haunted wolves. As Ark and Ariane find themselves surrounded by the wolves, Ark quickly realizes that haunted wolves cast an illusion on their victims and work under the Alpha, who is known for his intelligence. While Ariane skillfully handles the threat, Ark confronts the leader. To his surprise, the pack leader bears a similar ring to the one he found on the giant basilisk that attacked them earlier. Once the Alpha is freed from the ring, he runs into hiding with the rest of the wolves. As Ariane rejoins Ark, he tells Ariane that he saw a similar ring on the giant basilisk. Having slayed some haunted wolves, Ariane takes the time to craft a gift for her sister, while Ark thinks about how he must master the abilities bestowed upon him. Meanwhile, as Juliana's carriage moves through the forest, she confides her worries to Ferna, expressing how she is well aware of her brother Decair's involvement as the ringleader responsible for the elven slaves. Additionally, she voices out her speculations on her older brother, Sect, who is likely to plot something to achieve the throne. Amidst her worries, the carriage suddenly begins to shake violently, indicating that they're under attack. As Ponta senses the disturbance in the distance and rushes towards it, Ark instinctively follows him, leaving Ariane behind to prepare the wolf's tail fur. As they approach Juliana's carriage, they are met with a scene of horror as Princess Juliana and Ferna lie lifeless on the ground, slain by hooded assailants. Ark begins to contemplate whether to use his spell to revive Juliana and Ferna, while the hooded assailants rain fire attacks on him. To their horror, Ark remains untouched, and to Ark's surprise, he unexpectedly receives help from the haunted wolves. With the wolves, Ark quickly takes care of the assailants. After the wolves take their leave, Ark casts regeneration on Princess Juliana Ferna and as many of the guards as he can. In her groggy state, Juliana perceives Ark as an angel. Taking this as a miracle of God, Juliana gathers her troops and asserts that they will carry their quests at all cost. After regrouping with Ariane, Ark reaches Olaf, where he unexpectedly finds the ninja girl. The ninja girl by the name of Qian greets Ark and comments on his valiant efforts in freeing the enslaved elves back in Diento. She then reveals herself as a member of the Jinshin clan. As the group settles in an inn, Ark takes the opportunity to introduce himself and his loyal companion Ponta, while Ariane introduces herself as well. Curiosity piqued, Qian inquires why Ark referred to her as a ninja back in Diento, to which Ark explains that back in his country, secret agents are called by the title of ninja. Surprised by this revelation, Qian wonders if Ark hails from the very location where the legendary great founder lived 600 years ago. Deep within, Ark contemplates the possibility that someone from his world had traveled to this land centuries ago and established a ninja village. As the conversation continues, Ariane inquires about Qian's reason for wanting to talk to Ark. Qian opens up and requests Ark's aid in rescuing the beastman. Understanding the weight of his current commitments to Ariane and the elves, Ark finds himself torn between the two quests and turns to Ariane for help. Ariane, empathetic to Qian's pain, inquires about her history of rescuing people since a young age. Realizing that they share a common bond in their experiences, Ariane decides to join Qian on her quest to save the enslaved beastman. In the royal palace, Prince Decair vents his frustration at the haunted wolves' sudden defiance to his right-hand man, Cetrian. While offering his speculation, Cetrian states that the rings on the wolves may have been broken, which would explain their rebellion. With Princess Juliana unharmed, Decair begins to worry for his life. Concerned about the potential repercussions, Decair asks Cetrian to help him out, who tells him to lay low in the safe house. Meanwhile, as Ark and the group make their way through the lush forested area, Qian opens up about the history of her village. She reveals that the founder of her village wasn't a beastman, but a human named Hanzo. Qian explains that Hanzo was compassionate enough to take the underprivileged beastman under his wing. Under his guidance, the oppressed beastman found a safe haven and an opportunity to learn and grow. Upon hearing the story of Hanzo, Ark expresses his jealousy at how a man from his world formed a ninja clan. As the group reaches Etsat, Qian reveals that it's the largest slave market to exist. She goes on to instruct Ark and Ariane that after creating an uproar, they may escape first. Upon listening to her plan, Ark and Ariane ask if attacking Etsat is just a distraction. With a guilt-ridden face, Qian states that they can't save everyone in Etsat, so they plan on raiding 4 other slave trades in the meantime. The weight of the situation prompts Ark and Ariane to intervene. They state that they'll fight to the bitter end with her. After a tasty dinner, Ariane and Ark, wearing a bizarre mask, regroup with Qian and her companion Gomen to extract their plan. Upon hearing the Gomen's name, Ark comes to realize that they belong to a legendary group of ninjas. Ark instantly bonds with Gomen by scuffling with him. With a well-coordinated plan in motion, Qian and Ariane band together while Ark and Gomen work as distractions. As Gomen uses his arm bracer, Ark unleashes his rock shot spell, causing rocks to fly with incredible force, incapacitating more of the enemy soldiers. To incite more fear in the soldiers, Ark begins to laugh menacingly. Surprisingly, Ark and Gomen's merge together, causing a massive destruction to the company. As the night unfolds, Decair receives disturbing news from Cetrian about the attack on the Etsat market and several other slave markets. Not wanting to lose his business, Decair immediately orders reinforcements to be dispatched. While Gomen deals with the guards, Qian, Ariane, and Ponta infiltrate the Etsat market under the cover of darkness. As they make their way through the shadows, a couple of guards detect their presence and confront them. Qian swiftly employs her ninjutsu, Liquid Wolf Fang, dispatching the guards with ease. Ariane flexes her own skills by unleashing her fire magic to incapacitate the guards. Pressing on, the trio reaches the cells where the enslaved are kept in captivity. Filled with determination, Qian announces that she's with the Jinshin clan, making it clear that they have come to rescue them all from the clutches of the enemies. As they reach the cell emitting a pungent smell, Qian, Ark, and Ariane discover a heartbreaking scene. The group of previously enslaved beastmen inform them that this cell served as a prison for those deemed ill and deemed worthless by their captors. Upon hearing this, Ark tells Qian to take the bodies of the dead slaves to a safe location. Once Decair's reinforcements arrive, Ark uses his teleportation magic to teleport the slaves safely outside the vicinity of Etzat. With everyone safe, Ark rushes to Gomen's side to lend a helping hand. Together, they work as a formidable team, using Ark's Rock Fang and Gomen's Rock Spear Strike to decimate the reinforcements and the market without breaking a sweat. After the ordeal, they regroup with Ariane and Qian carrying along the bodies of the deceased slaves. Ariane, using her fire magic, performs a cremation ceremony. As the souls dance in the sky, Qian vows to become strong. In a surprising turn of events, Decair meets his untimely end at the hands of Cetrian, who happens to be in a secret alliance with Prince Sect. As Sek walks in the room, Cetrian relays the news of the freed slaves and Juliana's supposed demise. Sek, pleased by the developments, asks Cetrian to spread the news of Juliana's death at the hands of Decair's. With everything working in his favor, Sek dreams about claiming the throne for himself. In the meantime, Ark and Gomen engage in another bonding session. The girls look at the men in confusion but soon realize that Ark and Gomen share an unexpected connection. Qian then tells Ariane that she will get stronger and save more people in future. A proud smile flutters across Ariane's lips upon hearing Qian's vows. The next day, as the boat sails towards Olav, Ark's group prepares to part ways with Gomen and Qian. Before going their separate ways, Qian tells them the promised information. Meanwhile, in the Grand Duchy of Linbold, Juliana reaches her sister Siriarna's castle, where she learns from her sister about her supposed demise. Inside the castle, Siriarna informs Juliana and her attendee Ferna about the ongoing news of Decair's killing her, and as a result he was sequentially slain by Cetrian. When Juliana inquires why they believe she was dead, Siriarna reveals that the evidence of her death was inferred solely from the fact that the necklace that she always wore from their mother was found next to Decair's dead body. Ferna then tells Siriarna that the necklace went missing during the attack. As Juliana processes the shocking news, she begins to think about Sek's involvement in all this. After some quick thinking, Juliana tells her sister to keep the news of her being alive and well a secret, as it can later come in handy. With determination in her eyes, Juliana states that she will use this time to talk with the elves and asks Siriarna to lend her help in the negotiations. On the other hand, Ariane and Ark reflect upon the information revealed by Qian. Ark notices Ariane's sudden shift of mood and wonders about the involvement of the Holy Revlon Empire in the slave trade. While walking across a barren wasteland, Ark and his team witness a flock of sand wyverns. As Ark expresses his excitement, Ariane reveals that because of the wyverns, the Whispering Fowl is afraid to carry the message to Denka. Jumping on the opportunity, Ark rushes to slay the monsters. Utilizing a lightning spell, Ark not only destroys the wyverns but also accidentally sends a shock down the spines of his comrades. Meanwhile, unbeknownst to them, someone secretly observes them from the shadows. Once the group reaches a town, Ark apologizes for his actions. Accepting his apology, Ariane informs Ark about the routes that will take them to the Revlon Empire. Noticing Ariane's concerned face, Ark finally decides to ask her about it. To his dismay, Ariane reveals that while in a Hrotan kingdom, elven slavery is banned, but in Revlon kingdom, circumstances are a bit different as they openly engage in elven slavery. Ariane expresses her anxiety and fear of entering a region where her kind is taken as slaves every day. Ark and Ariane are then approached by the person spying on them earlier. As Karsi Held introduces himself as an elven monster researcher, Ariane, displaying her cautionary nature, swiftly places a pot over his head, emphasizing the potential dangers of being an elf in a human settlement. Despite her initial apprehensions, they soon discover that Karsi is warmly welcomed by the humans in the bar. With a mug of beer in hand, Karsi explains that he has lived in the town for 10 years and quickly points at Ariane being a dark elf. Expressing his hope for a future where humans and elves can coexist, Karsi then makes a request for their assistance in catching a monster for his research. At first, Ariane flatly refuses, but Karsi tries to bribe them with a map of the Revlon Empire as a reward. Despite Ariane's suspicion about his eavesdropping, Ark sees the value in the map for their journey and convinces her to accept the offer. Karsi further entices them by offering a bestiary, which ultimately convinces Ariane to agree due to Ark's constant persuasion. With the deal settled, they agree to meet at the town entrance the next day for their collaboration. After paying for their accommodations, Ark and Ariane are generously rewarded by the innkeeper with a whole barrel of alcohol. In their room, Ariane rants about Karsi's vision of elves and humans coexisting while sipping on the alcohol. As the night progresses, Ariane gets drunk and wreaks havoc upon Ark and the furniture. The next morning, the hangover, she mistakes Ark for a skeleton in her room. Later, they meet Karsi, who introduces them to his companion and shares that the entire town heard them being intense last night. Upon hearing Karsi's remark, Ariane murderously expresses her internet to harm Karsi. Thankfully, Arc stops Ariane in time. Due to a combination of hangover and motion sickness, Ariane starts feeling nauseous as they ride in the cart. She notices an awful smell emanating from the cart. Carsey explains that it's due to the goblin corpses that they will be using as bait to catch a sandworm. To help Ariane with her hangover, Carsey's friend offers Arc a bottle of tea, which Ariane initially hesitates to take. However, Carsey vouches for his friend's trustworthiness, which eases Ariane, who decides to drink the tea. To her surprise, she finds the tea delicious. As Arc inquires about the sandworm they are hunting, Carsey provides detailed information about the creature. While they continue their journey, Ariane suddenly notices that the cart behind them is missing. To their horror, the massive sandworm appears in front of them and is much larger than they anticipated. Spotting Carsey's companion next to the broken cart, Ariane rushes to rescue him, but the sandworm ambushes her before she can act. As Ariane tries to exploit the creature's weakness with a fire spell, her attack proves futile. The sandworm then turns its attention towards her, but before it can cause any harm, Arc swiftly steps in, saving Ariane just in time. Seizing the opportunity, Arc yanks the sandworm out of the ground and, using his incredible strength, forcefully slams it back down. As a result, the sandworm loses the battle. Once the ring attached to the sandworm vanishes, Arc delivers the monster to Carsey as promised. After receiving their reward, Ariane curiously inquires why Carsey lives amongst humans. A bit taken aback by the question, Carsey admits that he has grown to love them. He shares his difficult upbringing in the village where he was raised and his initial unfavorable impression of the humans. However, over time, his perception changed, making him see the potential for humans and elves to coexist. Despite Carsey's optimistic dream, Ariane remains skeptical about its possibility. Carsey then brings up Lambert Town, a port in Rodin ruled by a human named Petros du Lambert and his elf wife Toriasa. Hearing this surprises Ariane, and she initially doubts the authenticity of their marriage, suspecting coercion from Petros' side. But Carsey reassures her that it wasn't the case. In fact, Petros had rescued Toriasa from slavery, and their feelings for each other led to their marriage. Since then, they both aim to foster better relationships between elves and humans. After the conversation, Arc and Ariane continue their journey, contemplating the possibility of coexistence between their races. In the depths of a secret hideout in Revlon, an unnamed man questions a man named Funba whether he's responsible for the missing people report. Ignoring the man's concerns, Funba proudly reveals the monstrous creature he has been harboring. To demonstrate its ferocity, Funba feeds one of his women to the creature, leaving the man sickened and disturbed. As they enter the border town of Kasek, Arc realizes they have finally reached the Revlon Empire, the place where the enslaved elves are being held captive. Understanding the tight security in the area, Ariane and Arc decide to be discreet and ask around town without drawing too much attention to themselves. Once the day turns to dusk, Arc goes through the information he has gathered so far. He learns that strange noises come from the West Fortress every night. Monsters are frequently sighted near the bordering town, and there have been reports of people mysteriously disappearing from the town over time. However, there is still no concrete evidence about the elves being held captive there. As Arc and Ponta decide to regroup with Ariane, they hear a woman's desperate screams coming from an alleyway. They rush to the scene and find a lady cornered by 3 menacing men. Without hesitation, Arc intervenes and takes on the aggressors to protect the woman. Soon, Ariane arrives, and upon seeing Arc with the lady in his arms, she menacingly orders the lady to leave. The lady, frightened by Ariane's commanding tone, hastily scurries away from the scene. Picking up on Ariane's mood, Arc asks her why she's sulking. With jealousy coursing in her veins, Ariane loudly states that she's not sulking. In his fortress, Funba is informed about the 3 men's failure to capture food for the beasts. Enraged by their incompetence, he feeds them to his white tiger monster as a brutal punishment. Outside the fortress, Arc and the group continue their journey towards the stronghold. Arc once again points at Ariane's annoyed state, which makes her taunt Arc for hugging the lady in the alleyway. With that, she disappears, leaving Arc confused. Once Arc and Ariane make their way inside the fortress, Ariane discovers a concealed stairway. As they descend down the stairs, a strong, pungent smell of beasts fills the air, indicating that something ominous lies ahead. At the bottom of the stairs, the 2 guards standing by the solid iron gate are swiftly taken care of, but Ariane struggles to open it. Arc gives it a try and easily opens it, which frustrates Ariane. Beyond the gates, they find rows of jail cells emitting a strong stench, and Ariane notices scattered bits of animal fur on the ground. Ponta then discovers another iron gate, which Arc opens, leading them to a vast underground space with numerous pillars. Just as they explore the area, Funba arrives, investigating what alerted his monsters. He spots Ariane and, finding her attractive, orders her to be his and deal with Arc. Suddenly, Ariane appears to be possessed and attacks Arc. Realizing that Ariane is a dark elf, Funba begins to enjoy himself more. He commands Ariane to finish off Arc swiftly. In an attempt to break the control over Ariane, Arc uses Uncurse on her, but to his dismay, nothing seems to work on Ariane. In her dreamlike state, Ariane is visited by Even, who calls her weak and asks her to train harder. Meanwhile, Arc finally realizes that Ariane is being controlled by something other than a sinister spell. He employs Ponta to catch the culprit. Soon Ponta appears back with an imp. Knowing that the imp was feeding Ariane false images, Arc slays the monster. Witnessing Arc's knowledge on this subject, Fumba reveals himself as a beast tamer and calls his beasts to fight Arc. Before battling with the monsters, Arc asked about the elves. Fumba callously reveals that half of the elves were used as an experiment by the Empire and the other half were used by him. Anger takes over Arc as he begins to annihilate Fumba's beasts. Just when a monster is about to injure Ariane, Xiom and her band of ninjas save the day. With the monsters dealt with, the building begins to crumble. Fumba seeks this opportunity to escape while Arc uses his dimension magic to teleport Ariane and Xiom outside. As the smoke clears, Arc's gaze falls upon the formidable Hydra looming in the distance. Xiom informs him of the creature's destructive capabilities known to bring countries to ruin. She expresses disbelief that someone like Fumba could be controlling such a powerful beast. In his flashback, Fumba gets rejected by his clan's elders, as they deem him weak for seeking superficial powers. He later appears before King Domitianus and Lord Chancellor Velmors. Without questioning his status, Domitianus appoints Fumba and asks him to serve the country. In the present, Fumba orders the Hydra to attack Kasek and feast upon its civilians. Meanwhile, Arc and Xiom manage to escape the Hydra's attack because of Arc's shield magic. Ariane, in a state of rage, reveals that she heard everything that came out of Fumba's mouth, including the fates of the elves. In the Holy East Revlon Empire, Velmors provides Emperor Domitianus with an update on the Destroyer of Nations, and the Rings of Submission, analyzed from Fumba's sorcery, are nearing completion. Relieved to hear the news, Domitianus plots to do something about Fumba. Meanwhile, as the Hydra approaches Kasek, the city guards ring the alarm, causing the head guard to order preparations for evacuation. Arc catches up to the Hydra and uses his Wyvern Slash to draw its attention. He follows up with a Shield Bash and Armor Lariat in an attempt to face the formidable creature. When all of his attacks fail, Arc teleports to a safer distance and summons Ifrit to face the Hydra. Meanwhile, Ariane, Xiom, and Ponta confront Fumba. As Ariane calls the beast tamer weak, Fumba recalls his bitter experiences with others, making him attack Ariane. This time, however, Ariane easily sees through Fumba's tactics. Xiom jumps in by destroying the rune that Fumba uses to control the Hydra. In the end, Ariane exacts her revenge by slaying Fumba, while Ifrit finishes off the Hydra. With the battle over, Ariane learns from the file that Princess Juliana and Elder Fengus have settled the dispute between humans and elves. Juliana promises to protect the elves if the Revlon Kingdom ever strikes. As the two parties shake upon the new treaty, Ariane voices out how things around her began to change since Arc's arrival. Hearing this, Arc nervously laughs and calls it her imagination.